If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be that we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is wasteful and useless in times like these.
I won't be made useless, I won't be idle with despair. I will gather myself around my faith, for the light the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. But they're not yours, they are my own, and I am never broken. Parties, stole your golden shoes, but didn't steal your laughter. I came to visit me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. We'll fight, not out of spite, for someone to stand up for what's right. 'Cause when there's a man who has no voice, there are struggle ones singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. But they're not yours, they are my own, and I am never broken. In the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. But they're not yours, they are my own, and I am never broken. We are never broken. We are God's eyes, God's hands, God's heart. We are God's eyes, God's hands, God's heart. We are God's eyes, God's hands, God's heart.
Good morning. We are God's eyes. We are God's hands. We are God's hearts. I'm feeling that strongly this morning. I hope you are too. I want to welcome everyone here to Unity Spiritual Center, where we are all about our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. My name is Amber McKenzie, and I am your platform assistant this morning. Very happy to be here. If everyone could just take a moment now to please silence your cell phones, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, everyone's getting their cell phones out. I appreciate that. As always, we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power, active in my life and in the universe. God the good. Together, there is only one presence and one power, active in my life and in the universe. God the good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each and every one of us. This morning, we are very excited to be hearing from our transformational speaker, Julia Hayes, and her message titled, Small Wonders, the Essence of a Sacred Life. Julia will also be leading us in a centering meditation with singing bowls, which is very exciting. And I know I'm looking forward to. And then following her message, she will lead us in a reflective meditation, giving us an opportunity to allow everything to sink in. Very happy to have Julia here with us this morning. And now I'm going to share some news you can use. Okay, so the first thing is our new community member orientation. That's me. May 16th after services at 11:30 a.m. I will be doing the new community member orientation. So what we're going to do is have it both in person and via Zoom so that we kind of cover all the bases. If someone is interested in learning about Unity membership and what that entails, please join me on that Sunday. Now, the thing is, I will need an RSVP, which you can do at my email, which is amckenzie@unityspokane.org. It's up on the screen. Please email me to RSVP and then let me know if you want to come in person here in the chapel after services on the 16th or via Zoom. And then we can kind of work it that way. Okay? And then next, our clothing drive is coming to an end this Wednesday. So if you have any donations, used clothing to add, please bring them this week. You can just drop it off in the, the entryway to the center. And then that is helping us to raise money for our general fund. Okay, and then also, COVID update. We have all heard that we may be going to phase 2 on Monday. Let's see, maybe not, you never know. But if we do, please know that that won't affect us very much in the sense that we currently, phase 2, we are allowed up to 50 people. The board chose in the very beginning to do 25, but that's technically we can have up to 50. So it won't change much in relation to our Sunday services. Although if we got up to, let's say we had 60 people on average, then we would have to do something different. But right now we are right where we need to be. So that's good news. And then, and the other thing is just as a reminder, please make sure that you're maintaining the distance and wearing your mask while in the center. Okay, and then next we have our spiritual journeys. So this is our 9 a.m. meditation service. Next Sunday, it will feature Reverend David McClure, who's here today, yay, and Love Notes from the Universe. So Reverend David says, do you know that the universe is communicating with you continuously? Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay, good. I need a little bit of affirmation here, people. Thank you. It is always offering you new insights that are meant to entice you, inspire you, and bring new light to old problems. Next Sunday morning, we will explore some of these love notes, discuss them, and take them into quiet contemplation. So again, that's next Sunday at 9 a.m. right here in the chapel. Please arrive by 8:55 a.m. And then the following week, May 16th, we will have a loving kindness meditation with affirmation circlets. And that will be led by Joan Breckling. This meditation uses an adaptation of the powerful Buddhist loving kindness prayer. Please note, you can bring your own beads, BYOB, or affirmation circlets. Or I have some set out on the bookstore counter there, and they're handmade, they're beautiful, and we're just asking for a love donation of $20. And so you can bring those, or we will also have ones that you can borrow and we will disinfect. They're the knotted rope circlets. So everyone will have a circlet at that meditation, and then so Joan would lead you through that, and then there would be an interactive time of sharing afterwards. So that'll be a fun one on May 16th. Okay, and then next we have our transformational speakers. So next Sunday is May 9th, and that will be Jeff Tawning, who will be speaking on his message titled, Defining Ourselves. Jeff states that before we can be one with each other, we must first be one with ourselves. And he will talk about the importance of knowing ourselves, how we are wired, defining our personal values, and using tools like the Enneagram to help us understand who we are so we can begin to understand others. And then following that service on Sunday, May 16th, we have our beloved Unity Minister Emeritus, Reverend David McClure, who will be sharing his message titled, Out of the Darkness and Into the Light. We are excited about that, Reverend David. Woohoo! Okay, and then finally, for those joining us virtually, we will be having a Zoom call directly after services, our Reflections, Observations, and Inspirations call. And Julia Hayes will be on that call as well, and she would love to hear from you. So if you are interested in joining that call right after services, you'll see the number there on the screen. You can just hop on, and we'll let you in, and then Julia will probably be in about 5 to 10 minutes after services end. So please join us if you can. Okay, and now to the good part. I want to introduce Julia Hayes, who will be taking us, as I mentioned, through a Singing Bowls meditation and then into her message today. So just to give you a little context, I met Julia through my magazine, Natural Awakenings, and was very, very impressed and encouraged by the work she does in our community. She is the owner of Souls Center, which is a spiritual classroom located in Kendall Yards. And what Souls Center offers is numerous meditation classes, circles, retreats, recovery Dharma groups, which is a Buddhist-inspired approach to recovery. She also created and leads the only spiritually inspired non-12-step support group for friends, family members, and professionals supporting those struggling with a substance abuse disorder. And that group is called Sati Siva. Julia is a community leader for the spiritual empowerment of women and has led a large private women's circle for nearly 10 years. And when she's not busy with all of her amazing work with Soul Center, Julia lives on an organic farm with her husband and their 3 teenage children. So please join me in welcoming Julia Hayes to Unity Spiritual Center, Spokane. Woo-hoo.
See if I can do this.
Oh, you did it.
Did I do it? All right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Can you all hear me all right? Okay. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Even I'm impressed. That just sounds rather wonderful. I'm really happy to be here. I'm honored to be here, truly. And today, I'd like to bring us into a meditation, a centering meditation, and I'm going to play the bowl for us. And so right now, let's just immediately drop into it, and I invite you, if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes. This is being live streamed right now, as I understand. So if you're at home, on your computers, go ahead and turn your body a little askew, a little at an angle to your computer screen. That way you can break that technological connection and maybe open up to the sanctity and the comforting intimacy of your home. This is the heart chakra singing bowl. And allow your attention to open that space in your heart, in your mind. Allow your gaze to disconnect from the distractions of daily living, the pull to compare and compete, the prickly inner landscapes that would have us think and believe that we're less than, or broken, somehow not enough. Breathe. Meditation is the means by which we gently and privately explore all the ways we've forgotten that we are creations of divine imagination. We are here to experience divine presence through our unique, individual, sacred lives. We are here to remember that we are the evolutionary alchemy of dying stars. We are the ancient clay of our ancestors, singing and dancing our bones. We are a thread in this miraculous weave of life. Everything about our presence here is sacred. Now that we've offered ourselves the gift of some quiet and some stillness, we've opened up our minds a little bit, we've opened up our hearts a little bit. If you'd like to, you can maintain this posture of meditation and keep your eyes closed to listen to this story. I'm here today to invite you and to invite your imagination to entertain sacred wonders. And I would simply ask that you ask yourself what those words mean to you. What arises in your mind when you hear sacred wonder? And I would encourage you to create a lot of space for the emergence of that idea, that concept of sacred wonders, to reveal what you need to hear and see most. If you're watching me, you'll notice that I often close my eyes, and this is my way of getting really centered and really still so that small wonders can come through. And it's how I trust what I hear, what I know. One of the things on the Soul Center website that I remembered this morning was a sentiment by Thich Nhat Hanh that I love. And he writes, "Our own life is the instrument with which we experiment with truth." And so if you're unsure how to trust the truth of your own knowing, it occurs to me that We listen to other people's stories and we're inspired by other people's stories because they help us give permission to trust our own stories, to trust that our lives are indeed experimental grounds, places where we can know our deepest truths. So I want to share with you today my small wonders, my sacred life, and I want to instill in you confidence that you can trust your knowing. 13 years ago, death barged into my life and tried to grab my 4-year-old daughter. I will never forget the way death hissed her name, Arya, hot, abrasive, leaving me chilled and stiff. I wasn't about to let death have her, so with bravado and fear I held tight. And I want you to know what that felt like, to have death so close, because I don't think we talk about it much. It wasn't friendly, it wasn't peaceful, and I definitely wasn't ready, not even close. And I had known death, and still, I had no idea, not really. Death felt like a giant's hand grabbing the back of my head, shoving me to an edge, a steep, crumbling, arid edge. And before me, space. Deep, dark, uncertain, unknowing space. The domain of death. And despite this vastness, I could sense no fear from that place. What fear I had, and trust me, I was terrified, was singularly rooted where I stood. Behind me, my life. Everything I thought I knew, my dreams, everything I believed to be true. At this edge, I was never allowed to turn around and look behind me. I could only look in front or side to side. For 3 years, I stood at that edge, holding Arya over death. For 3 years, on either side of me, mothers and fathers holding their children over death. Sometimes, death snatched those children unexpectedly and mercilessly. Sometimes it was a tug of war. Death never loses. Sometimes the parents didn't let go, and death took them too. Sometimes I watched parents give their children over to death and return to their lives as ghosts. And sometimes I saw parents and children and death create a bond, an understanding where there was this profound, agonizing peace. Maybe you're thinking that's the way you'd like to be with death. I don't blame you, I would. Peaceful, accepting, gentle. But the truth is, none of us knows what our relationship to death is going to be. Death, the one and only guarantee we have in this life, and none of us knows how we're going to show up to it. And it's strange we don't spend more time talking about it, treating and acknowledging it as one of the most sacred acts we'll all witness and experience. I wonder if we did, if we might be more curious and more open to the idea that what we see in another's journey in life and in death is probably skewed and a little distorted. Perhaps those families who didn't have peace when their child died actually did. Maybe I saw it wrong. Maybe I wasn't seeing clearly. Maybe they had a kind of peaceful understanding I couldn't have known from where I was sitting or standing. Who's to say? Our journeys are entirely our own, precise in their unfolding, small wonders abounding and defining only that which we can see and know for ourselves. 3 years I stood in that space. And then one day, I was able to bring Arya back into my arms, right at that edge. Death said, "Not yet, not yet." We turned around and we stepped away from that terribly dry, crumbling place back to the light of life. A small wonder. Every step, every breath, every touch, every scent, everything was a moment of grace. A gift, an enormous gift. And the most humbling reality of that was we didn't have to do anything to earn it. It simply happened. A second chance. Another invitation to enjoy and fully savor every aspect of this life. Even now before me, lights, bright lights, continuing to reveal. Behind me, memory and experience of all of those children and their beloved families, all the beloved souls who have merged with death in that space. And you know, we honor them best by learning to better live. Getting better at living is refusing to squander a single moment of its sacred essence. The small, subtle experiences of awe that are so easy to take for granted. Even our awareness of taking something for granted is sacred. And there are many obvious wonders that we're all aware of. A single water droplet on a blade of grass. Right now, the poppies are starting to emerge from those furry casings. The smile of a newborn, the scent of a puppy. But I want to tell you about some less obvious wonders. I want to tickle your imagination about the small wonder of being vulnerable to your messy lives, your messy minds, your tight, closed-off hearts sometimes. How about the small wonder of enjoying your own company? How about the small wonder of risking to truly love yourself and others with a degree of depth and care that's new to you? What about the small wonder of having sincerity by no longer being governed by the inner narrative that limits the soul's longing? What about the small wonder you all probably know of not hesitating to reach out to someone who's just crossed your mind, only to find out that they really needed you in that moment? What about the small wonders that we have health and well-being to engage in the tedious, mundane chores of our lives, like for me, laundry and sweeping dog hair? One of my favorite small wonders is bagel crumbs on my counter, which I am every day incessantly wiping. They make themselves. I don't know how that happens. But I get kind of irritated about it. And yet I remembered that even bagel crumbs, for me, are in the background of my daughter's continued survival and health. It's a wonder. And even my irritation with it, my capacity to have that emotional range is a wonder. It's a small wonder to say yes, to be a bit wobbly in front of complete strangers, many of you, and to talk about a sacred life and small wonders. The small wonder of saying yes and keep going. Yes and keep going, like a mantra, like a prayer, like a blessing. I'm positive that life is always trying to get our attention. It's like a little kid going, pick me, pay attention, watch, I'm sacred, notice. And at the same time, all of this sounds lovely and sweet and fragrant, like some of the lilacs I see blooming right now, unseasonably early, but still gorgeous. It's really hard to take in when we all have that little piece in our mind that's saying, yeah, that's all great, but what about all the misery and suffering and injustice in the world? Yep. Add to this an attitude that we have here in the West that would have us believe that being joyful and allowing life to be the fullest expression of the divine is to somehow betray the suffering in the world. And yet nothing could be further from the truth, friends. The more we forget to enjoy and revel in small wonders, the moments of awe, the splendor of being human, the experience of the natural world and our connection to it, the more we forget this, the more we diminish the light in the world. And the more we dull creative imagination. And that is what we need in order to stay present, truly present to the suffering of the world and the suffering within our own lives. We honor our beloved dead best by learning to better live. We honor the suffering in the world by learning to better live. And to do this, we have to create space. Space in life, paradoxically, that death creates. Space for peace and misery, space for mercy and the merciless, space for our greatest sorrows and our deepest joy. It's all already here already. But we have a habit of picking one or the other, and we're invited to hold both. We're invited to do this with less fear, less resistance, less grasping, less falsity. And this would mean that we come into communion with life and death, with life, with death with life as death, and with death as life. All of this, a holy sacrament, waiting for the fullness of our unique presence here, your presence, my presence. Small wonders in this divine experience. We honor death and life by learning to better live and cultivating space to be divine in our presence. I just want to take a moment to bow to the sacredness of each of you. And I'm going to play the bowls again, and I'd like us to just breathe. take this moment as a sacred moment. Take this sacred moment into all your other moments and make them sacred too. What a gift of presence to offer suffering in the world. Hearing myself share this with you today is such a good reminder for me because my daughter Ari is 17 now. And it's really hard sometimes because she's so beautifully, perfectly 17. And so, I'm stupid and don't know anything and I keep her on a tight leash and all that other good stuff. So to remember what we went through with her really enables me to have a lot more space to celebrate where she is. And so I thank you for allowing me to share with you today. And I'd like to end my offering with a blessing. And I just would invite you to close your eyes and put your hands on your hearts if that's comfortable for you. And to recognize that we know intellectually that life is fleeting, it's fragile, it's precious. But I'm inviting you to know this in your heart and to open your heart's eyes to see all the small wonders waiting for you to delight in and waiting for you to be delighted in. That's one of the greatest gifts of life, is it's constantly wanting to celebrate you as much as you want to celebrate it. May you create space in your hearts and in your minds to be with life as it is. May you deepen in your presence to notice every small wonder and have it be a measure of your sacred life. May you recognize that you are space, and may you celebrate that you are already, right now, indeed, a divine wonder. I thank you and I bless you. Namaste.
Everything must change. stays the same. Everyone must change. No one stays the same. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. But that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, and the sun lights up the sky, and the hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. A wounded heart will heal, but never much too soon. Yes, everything must change. Will the young become the old, and mysteries do unfold? But that's the way of time. Oh, nothing and no one goes unchanged. Well, there are not many things in this life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, and the sun lights up the sky, and the hummingbirds, they fly. Rain comes from the clouds, and the sun lights up the sky, and the hummingbirds, they fly. The rain comes from the clouds, and the sun lights up the sky, and the hummingbirds, they fly, they fly. Everything must change.
Well, thank you so much, Julia. Can we give her a little round of applause for her? While you were speaking, I was reminded of my own experience with death with my mom. And I will say that it was, and I'm sure all of us can attest to this, it's the most powerful, difficult, transformative experience we can experience in this life. And it gave me, later, it gave me the profound knowledge that everything is a wonder as we are here in this life. And so thank you for this reminder. It's very helpful, especially with the crumbs on the counter, because my kids drive me crazy with it. So I appreciate that. I have a new perspective now, so this is good. Okay, unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one presence, one power, one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here. If you are new to our ministry and are interested in learning more about our upcoming transformational speakers, workshops, and events, please sign up for our email newsletter by texting Unity Spokane to 22828 or sign up on our website at unityspokane.org. We would also like to connect with you on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Unity Spiritual Center Spokane to find us. And all of our past talks are also on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and check those out. We have some really amazing speakers like Julia who've shared their gifts of spirit with us. So now let's take a moment to acknowledge and bless one another with a socially distanced namaste greeting. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or at home, please feel free to stand up as you are able and send your loving consciousness to those around you. Thank you. Beautiful. And now is our time to celebrate abundance together as we share our gifts and love offerings. For those of you feeling the divine call to financially support our ministry today, you can drop your love offering in the glass bowl at the back of the sanctuary. Another option is to text GIVE to 253-528-7416 or visit our website, unityspokane.org, and click on the donate button. We also want to acknowledge and thank all of our automatic givers who have kept this ministry afloat during our time of virtual-only services, as well as through our limited opening due to COVID-19. Thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without you. With that in mind, let us take a moment now to sink into our hearts and bring forth a feeling of gratitude as we say together our love offering blessing. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. Okay, so our chaplains today, I'm not sure because I forgot to update this part. Who is our chaplain today? Tim, yay, Tim is our chaplain here in the sanctuary, and then we have someone at home, thank you, whoever that is, I'm sorry I didn't write that down. So we have our chaplains holding space in our service as well as at home every Sunday so that we feel that energy. And we would like to encourage anyone who is in need of prayer support to please submit your request through our online form. We also have paper forms in the back at the table and a little box to put them in. So if you go to unityspokane.org and click on the Contact Us button on the main page, you will be taken to a prayer request form. And like I said, we also have paper forms in the back. And I just would encourage anyone to submit a prayer request. Even if you're, a lot of times I think we feel we have to be going through a horrible, difficult, painful situation to request a prayer, and that's just absolutely not true. You could be going through anything in your life, and it doesn't even have to be you. We encourage you to submit a prayer request for someone you love who might need some extra energy sent their way. And so please avail yourself to that. We have an amazing prayer ministry. And so what we do is our names are added to a prayer list, all the names, and they are prayed over for 30 days by our prayer ministry, as well as by Silent Unity. So lots of prayer support here, and we want to put these prayer warriors to work. So please feel free to submit your prayer requests, either in paper or online. Okay. Let us now join together for our closing prayer for protection, followed by the peace song. Feel free to stand up as you are able, and we will affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth. go out there and find all the small wonders in your life and sacred wonders. Hold them close to you. Also, please join us for our Reflections, Observations, and Inspirations talk. And if you don't mind, because of COVID, we'll have to just file out to the right, and you can talk in the parking lot. The beautiful parking lot on a beautiful day. Thank you so much, everybody.